Taos headed out to the land of the cactus this weekend, the NFL owners meeting. It's one of my favorite events, and I know she enjoyed it greatly when she was involved in the league for many, many years as an executive with the Oakland Raiders. She is Amy Trask. She's at CBS Sports. She negotiates like a girl, and you can follow her journey out on Twitter at Amy Trask. That's Trask. One of my favorite guests, and also an early riser as well. Nothing going on with the Raiders these days, right, Amy?
Here you are heading into an owners meeting. You may like them more than I liked them, but that's a separate story. And yes, the Raiders are on the agenda.
I like the ones where Baltimore was voted on and actually got through, and we actually got a team this time. So, I mean, obviously, I was 16 years old when the Colts left. I was 27 when the Ravens came. It's been 21 years now. I've never really attended one of these things, right? Like, last year, I was around the three teams this has been going on for 10, 15 years. It is fascinating how it looks like it's all going to work out, right? St. Louis to L.A. first. San Diego joins them. No team in San Diego, no team in St. Louis, no team in Oakland, and it looks like the Raiders are headed to Vegas. What would Al have thought about all this, right?
Well, when you say that it's working out, I certainly, and you know this from when the Colts left Baltimore initially, it certainly isn't working out from the standpoint of the fans in the venues the teams are leaving. But, it is to the gain of the fans in the venues to which they are, in the locations to which they're moving. Al had a fondness for Las Vegas. He certainly enjoyed visiting, and we had many what I would call extended Raider family events there over the years. But I think he would be conflicted. He would be torn. He might be excited about the new venue, but very, very heartbroken that the team would again be leaving Oakland.
Al was always searching for this, right? Like his whole life, the dream stadium, the dream scenario, Oakland to L.A., back to Oakland. Never really did get a new stadium, right? I mean, and here comes Vegas and the banks, and they were in and they were out, and the gambling community was in. Now it's out. Just the notion of Vegas was so incredibly toxic for all of last century, right?
Well, sure, but the world has obviously changed over that period of time, and this is something you and I discussed quite a while ago. The views about gambling have changed, but so have gambling logistics. Look, 30, 40 years ago, if you wanted to gamble legally in this country, you really had to go to Las Vegas or go to Atlantic City.
And very few people were doing that, by the way, right? I mean, everyone was gambling down at the corner bar, right? I mean, that was going on everywhere. The NFL could never sniff that or even acknowledge that to some degree, right?
Well, there's both issues. There's the fact that gambling, has gone on for probably as long as there has been gambling, but now anyone with a internet or cellular connectivity can gamble from wherever he or she is. So I believe the gambling stigma, has been waning over the years.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that, and that's why they're going in. How does this make you feel as someone who has had the Shield? And, I mean, conflicted would be the right word, but 10 years from now, do you see that Vegas becomes this place? Hey, I'll tell you what, Amy, we play in Oakland this year, right? And I love going to Oakland. I love San Francisco. I love taking the BART. I love Jack Del Rio. The Raiders have been great to me, the whole deal. But our fan base, if this thing turns around and is at Sam Boyd Stadium, I've got a hell of a road trip in front of me in a year when we're already going to London and Nashville and Green Bay. I do group trips. I would think if the Raiders wind up in Las Vegas, we'll have 15,000 Ravens fans there that weekend.
Well, I think you've hit the proverbial nail on the head, and you asked me. I think you started that by asking me how I feel about this, and it's not mutually exclusive to say that my heart hurts for the tremendous, tremendous fans that have supported the team in, the Bay Area fans, the fans that live in and around the Oakland area. But you are right. Las Vegas is a venue. Raider fans, you know this well. They travel phenomenally well. They will travel to Las Vegas from all over the country. So too will fans of the visiting team. So I can at the same time both be very, very sad for the fans in the Bay Area and also excited for those fans who will now enjoy the team in Las Vegas. But, you noted something else. Fans that choose to support their team one game a year may well pick that one game in Las Vegas for the fun of it. Does that mean the Raiders are giving up somewhat of a home field advantage because they certainly enjoy a tremendous one in Oakland? Now will that stadium be filled with tens of thousands of fans for the visiting team. That's to be determined.
Is your prediction a success for Vegas? I mean, I heard someone, I think one of the guys at MMQB wrote this week that an owner said that in the end they'll be the most successful of the three in Vegas. I mean, this San Diego thing's, Amy, I think it's a joke. I mean, I from a fan's perspective, as a guy that's spent many an afternoon at the Murph, many an afternoon up in the East Bay, in those cranky old stadiums. They've always been cranky in my lifetime. They've never been nice as long as I've been going there, but they remind me of Memorial Stadium in my childhood here. I have great affinity for both of those places, and I'm wondering what's Roger thinking? Are they really selling the long for the short to some degree?
I think we'll answer that in a couple of ways. I do think if any team can succeed well, really succeed in Las Vegas, it is the Raiders, for the reason we just discussed. That fan base travels very, very well. So if any team is going to succeed there, I think the Raiders are as well suited or better suited than any to do so. It remains to be seen how that market will support a team. If there's an economic downturn, we know that disposable spending is the first to go. Less people may travel. We'll see, but I do think of all 32 teams, the Raiders are best suited to do well in Las Vegas. As to Los Angeles, your points are obviously very fair and very well made, but I will note one thing, and for those listening that don't know this, I'm sitting here in Los Angeles, where I live, talking to you right now. This city has not had a new stadium since 1923.
Wow.
And no kids, I wasn't alive in 1923. The Rose Bowl was 1921. The Coliseum was 1923. What we know about Los Angeles is people want to be where it is important to be to see and be seen. And if Stan Kroenke builds the kind of stadium he's explaining he will build, the stadium itself can be an attraction in this city.
She is Amy Trask, a longtime Raiders executive, now working with CBS. You can follow her journey out on Twitter at Amy Trask, and tens of thousands do for the fun of it in her little Twitter village. Last thing for you, because I know your time's short, the Kaepernick thing. I mean, come on, no one's more renegade than the Raiders, through the course of time and all of your experience with many, many renegades there. The Kaepernick thing, it feels like he's toxic right now, right? And unlike Ray Rice or some of these others, didn't break any laws. There's no bad videotape other than one knee, but clearly this is offensive to the NFL owners and a little toxic, I think, for the coaches and the executives that may want to put this on.
Well, you're right. Under Al, the team was always willing to take second and third and in some cases fourth chances on individuals other teams would not take a chance on even once. And by the way, as a student at Berkeley, I had the opportunity to go to Raider games just down the road, and that was one of the things that led me to fall in love with the team, that the owner would give second and third and fourth chances to people who had been labeled behavior problems. Having been labeled a behavior problem in kindergarten, that resonated with me. But Al is no longer an owner, and speaking to the Raiders, Reggie is charting a different course in that regard, which is his every right to do as the general manager. I don't know that the Raiders would even take a chance on someone that other teams also are staying away from. Look, not every one of 32 owners is the same. There are certainly owners who won't take a chance on Colin for the reasons you said. There are other owners who may not think his performance warrants taking such a chance. But Steve Keim of the Arizona Cardinals said it very, very well at one point. He said, if Hannibal Lecter could run a 4.3, we'd convince ourselves he had an eating disorder. And I'm not quoting Steve precisely, but there may be some owners who are doing a risk-reward analysis, a cost-benefit analysis. But absolutely, positively, yes, there are owners who are looking simply at what Colin did last year. And I think that's a shame. It is not mutually inconsistent to say the following, and this is the absolute truth. I cherish our freedoms of expression, our freedoms of speech. I also cherish the men and the women who protect and defend those freedoms. And on Twitter, in my wonderful Twitter village you referenced, a member of the military said it beautifully of Colin. He said, I enlisted in the military to defend the right of others to do and to say that with which I disagree. And I think that's beautifully stated.
Amy Trask beautifully states many things out on Twitter, and you can follow her at Amy Trask. And next time, I'm pinning you down, and we're going to sit here and talk about all sorts of things like structure inside front offices, rules, changes, all television, all of that stuff.
I would absolutely, positively love that. And I will just give you this shout out to your listeners because I would love to stay on longer. But I misunderstood AM and PM, and I thought we were talking AM, and you may have been talking PM, and this is all on me, and I apologize that I therefore have a back end on this discussion.
I do coffee in the AM and beer in the PM, and I do either one in Los Angeles with you, so I appreciate the time.
That's a date, and I will tell you that's a good way to remember the difference between AM and PM.
We'll never get it wrong again. See you soon, Amy. There she goes, Amy Trask. You can follow her out on Twitter at Amy Trask, CBS Sports. Her book is You Negotiate Like a Girl. She's also, and one thing I always love talking to her about is she's on the board of Tony La Russa's Animal Rescue Foundation. So, we've got the black tie and tails going on for Be More Humane next month, and I spent the entire morning feeding and tending to Kitty. So I shared a Kitty video yesterday, too. All right, you can find me out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world, including Los Angeles. I've done it myself. The morning newspaper ships to your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning. It's all brought to you by our friends at Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com, where it's still $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life. Last but never least, when there's breaking news, we got it first. You're covered. If you're on the WNST tech service and something big happens, you get it first. You don't have to worry. It's always spam-free, and it's always brought to you by our friends at Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. I am Nestor. I am available 24 hours a day on the internet, nasty at WNST.net, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. Big thoughts to everyone in London affected by the tragedies, and many of you know we are pitching and pushing a trip to London for the Ravens in late September. We still have space in our trip. We trust that it shall be safe and fun and wonderful and purple. I can't guarantee a victory over the Jaguars, but I can predict one. And I'm doing that already because they're the Jaguars and we're the Ravens. So if you want to go on the trip, go to WNST.net, click on the road trips tab, and we will get you to London, jolly old London. We got a lot of good stuff planned over there. And, Ted Leonsis was the one that told me about it on Wednesday. Was up in Baltimore for a luncheon with Baltimore's CEO Club and said, tragedy, London. My daughter lives there. I'm like, what? So we got a trip going there. I just came up. So I know a lot of folks maybe a little nervous, but hey, hang in there. Fight for freedom. That's what I'm saying. Live your life. Go to London. Come with us. It'll be fun. Big Ben, the little whirly bird thing, the thing that's like not a Ferris wheel but is a Ferris wheel, and you can drink beer on it. Got the same stuff there they got here, just a little different. We're going to find out. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.